Hello everybody, in today's video I am going to review an article I found on Yahoo Finance website. It is an article doing some housing forecast predictions about 2025, and the article is 5 types of homes expected to plummet in value by the end of 2025. And what I'm going to do is going to review the highlights of this article, and I'm going to give you my perspective on whether I think they're okay or if they're off, and also decide if these are relevant to the state of Arizona, because this is an article that has interviewed some experts in different states, and of course we know real estate is hyper localized, so some of these predictions may be accurate for other parts of the country and may not be accurate for Arizona. So let's just go ahead and review the article and find out. I'm going to put a link in the description below if you would like to read the full article in detail yourself. My name is Dawn Dickinson. The channel is Living in Northern Arizona. Well, I teach you everything there is to know about living in the northern half of the state of Arizona. I am a realtor in Arizona, and if you ever have a question about buying or selling a home, please reach out to me. My contact information is always in the description below, and you can reach me by phone call, text, or email, and I will get back to you. Now, before I get going on the predictions that I found in this article, I want to say 2 things that you want to keep in mind before we look at what some of these experts are saying. Now, a lot of these experts are actually, all of the people that were interviewed in the article are not from Arizona, so that's one thing to keep in mind. But real estate is hyper localized, so conditions that might apply in states like Alabama or Florida or New York or Texas may not apply here in Arizona or even in California or Washington. And the other thing is that real estate prices are largely controlled by the supply and demand. So if you have a high supply of homes in a specific area but not a lot of people are wanting to buy, that's going to make prices drop. And of course the reverse, like we saw in 2021 for instance, if suddenly everybody is wanting to buy a home in an area and the supply is low, that's going to make prices go up. So keeping this in mind, I want to look at the first prediction, and they are saying condos and urban apartments may drop in the next 12 to 18 months. So the reason they're citing behind this, of course, is supply and demand. They're saying there is an oversupply in certain markets. Now, the person they interviewed to do this article for condos was a real estate expert, Danny Johnson, who works in Texas. Danny buys houses in Texas, and he is saying that condos have been the type of choice for many builders for a while, so that they have built a lot of condos, and yet maybe it has outpaced the demand for condos. So there's a couple of things I want to say about condos. A few years ago, probably when I first started getting into real estate, I got my license in 2016. A lot of the experts were predicting all of us baby boomers were going to sell our homes in the suburbs and move into the city and buy a condo and townhouse. Now, the pandemic came and that kind of threw everything off. The other thing that happened is many of us refinanced our homes at 2.9%, and so to sell a home now and downsize and move into a condo in the city may not be as applicable as it seemed, 6-8 years ago. So a lot of people are staying put that they had predicted would move into a condo 10 years ago, and maybe that's why they were building a lot of condos. Now, I'm not really seeing this as much in Arizona, but I want to tell you the markets that I deal with are going to be primarily Sedona, Verde Valley, and Flagstaff area. Now, I am in Sedona as my primary market, and there are a lot of condos and townhomes here in Sedona, but the thing about that is we have 2 things going on in Sedona that keeps the demand for these types of properties very high. One is that there are a lot of people that come and retire in Sedona, and so you have an elderly population that likes the convenience of a condo or a townhouse where you don't have to do much maintenance. You let the HOA do the lawn care and the exterior maintenance, and you've got a pool with community amenities, so that makes it attractive for a lot of people who are retiring. And the second thing to consider is that we have a lot of second homes. So people have a primary home somewhere else and they come to Sedona for 3 or 4 months out of the year, and so they like it that when they're not here that they can have somebody looking after to the property, and they don't have to worry if the weeds are growing or anything like that. And then we have a third factor going on in Sedona, where home prices are just so high that many people wanting to live here can't afford a single-family home, and they end up buying a townhouse or a condo just because the price point. Now, a lot of the condos here in Sedona, you can get between maybe $400,000 and $600,000, but if you're looking in another market like, say, Phoenix, you can buy a single-family home for that price. Now, if I want to talk a little bit about Verde Valley, which would be Camp Verde, Cottonwood, Cornville, there are not as many townhomes and condos to choose from, so I don't see the value in those areas plummeting either. Now, if we're going to go to Flagstaff, Flagstaff, I do see a lot of the newer construction being townhomes, but Flagstaff is a college town. There is a high demand for rentals, so I know a lot of investors do like townhomes and condos in Flagstaff. And the other thing is that, again, price point Flagstaff is high, so people wanting to move to Flagstaff who may initially think, I want a single family home, can't afford it, end up buying a townhouse or a condo, and so I also don't see the market there collapsing either. One last thing is, I personally have a second home, vacation home in Chandler, Arizona. Now, Chandler being the Valley of the Sun, very high population, lots of homes to choose from, and in the condo complex that I own, every time a unit comes up for sale, it's probably sold within 2 weeks. I'm still seeing demand for condos in the Valley of the Sun pretty high, and that may also have to do with the price of single-family homes. You want a single-family home and it's $600,000, so you think, well, maybe as a starter home I'll end up getting a townhouse. And so in Arizona, I am not sure if this prediction is going to apply, but interesting, if you were in Houston, where this guy who was quoted is, it may be relevant. And again, in states like Florida, I am hearing they are having an extreme oversupply of condos and townhomes, and the prices are very rapidly declining in some of those markets. So let's go to number 2. They're saying older suburban homes, areas in the suburbs where you might have a 30, 40-year-old home. Again, we are maybe looking in states that are outside of Arizona. What they are saying, there's been such huge amount of construction of brand new single-family homes that buyers are wanting to buy a brand new home rather than an older one out in the suburbs, and that's why they are expecting in some of these other markets that single-family homes that are older are going to drop in value. Now, I'm going to turn here to Arizona and say I don't really think this relates to Arizona so much, especially in the market where I serve primarily Sedona, Verde Valley, and Flagstaff, and even Prescott. There's not a huge amount of brand new homes going up. And I'm also seeing, say, in Sedona, only townhome communities have gone up by new builders, except that we see a lot of small builders buying up lots that come up for sale, and then they will build a spec home and put it on the market. So very few new homes, and I am noticing in Sedona that we have a lot of maybe demand for a smaller single-family home, say 1,200 to 1,800 square feet, but the new builders are wanting to build these large homes because they get a premium, and they can get it sold for $1.5 million, $2 million, and that's where the new builds are going up, perhaps because of the price point. But still, so many of the homes here in Sedona, Verde Valley are older suburban homes that they're describing that if you want to buy a home, you're out of luck if you're looking for a brand new home, unless you're looking for one of these $2 million, $1.5 million brand new spec homes. So may not apply to Arizona, but again, I sell primarily in the northern half of the state, so that's just an observation and something to watch for. I don't really agree with that, but some experts are saying that, so something to keep in mind. Now, the house type they're saying in the third point of the article is certain luxury properties. Well, they didn't really say what certain that they're talking about, but they are defining luxury properties as properties that are priced 2 to 3 times higher than the local median price. So here in Sedona, we have a local median price of about $1 million. So a $3 million house, there may be a lack of demand for that in the future. That I can understand because it's difficult for buyers to swing a $3 million purchase. Okay, so the fourth type of homes they are expecting properties with in areas with high unemployment rates. Then my reaction to this is like, duh, duh. You live in a community, high unemployment rate. I would not be surprised if all of the prices drop. Now, we do have the wild card here that a lot of people are working from home, telecommuting, so it's possible in your local area, if there's high unemployment, you may have other people buying because they are working outside of that area. But generally, if you're seeing unemployment very high in an area, that will make homes prices go down. So duh on this one. If you're in an area where suddenly nobody can get a job, likely you're not going to get top dollar for your home. So the last one they are talking about is vacation homes or second homes, and the reason they're saying that is because home prices are so high, it's difficult for a person to buy a primary residence, never mind the second home or vacation home. So I have a lot of experience in this because a lot of the homes I sell are second homes. Maybe not vacation homes, but second homes where somebody already has a home in a different part of the state, and then they are buying a home in Sedona because they are planning to retire in 2 to 5 years. So in a 5 or 10 year period, they're maybe juggling 2 houses, and then they will eventually sell home in the state where they're coming from and make Sedona their primary residence. I also sell a lot of cabins in like the Flagstaff area. It might be true if the economy goes to a tailspin and everybody is struggling that these areas could plummet in value, but you still have a lot of vacation home communities that are also primary residence areas. So like Flagstaff and Sedona here. I'm selling a lot of these. I am not seeing these affected. But of course, if the economy goes to hell in a handbasket in the next 24 months, that could happen because of it's true. You can barely buy a first home and difficult to buy a second home. But right now, I'm not seeing that, and I am not so certain that it's going to happen. The other factor that they might not be thinking is you have areas that have a very finite geographical location, and there's a limited supply of homes. Like Sedona is a great example, where you have just a tiny bit of geography, so they can't expand out. Flagstaff, the same thing. You're on the top of a mountain, so you can't really build out because the time you geographically spread out, you're going to have a change in elevation. So if you're in a place like Phoenix, and some people have vacation homes in Phoenix, there's so many homes to choose from that might be an issue. People buying a vacation home in Phoenix or Scottsdale. I see a lot of those going on in Scottsdale. That's it. That's this article. I have a link in the description below if you want to read it in detail. Again, real estate very hyper localized, and so things that are going on in Houston or Florida, like the condo market, right? Say condos plummeting in Florida, maybe not doing that so much here in Arizona. I still see a strong demand in condos and townhouses here in Sedona because they are very attractive for retirees and people having a second home, and I'm still seeing them sell in the Valley of the Sun. So maybe that doesn't apply. Same thing with some of the other issues. The unemployment area, duh. I don't even know why they put that in there. But so that's my thoughts on that article on Yahoo. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you do, please consider giving me a like, subscribing to the channel. I post videos every single week about real estate, and particularly real estate in northern Arizona. I hope to see you back on the channel again next week.